Good morning, guys, and welcome to iPunt Smart Racing today at Turffontein, 9th of August. We've got good condition and a 16-kilometer wind and just 1 millimeter of rain in the last 7 days. So that does mean that it looks pretty decent. In the first, Silver Winter is a greenie, but not for me at that price due to Southern Style Ashley Fortune coming up with a greenie in the next, and also due to Nelly Bly only being 1.23 lengths away on the bat figures. Gitana is now scratched. Maso's in it as well with the best blue bat or bat CD, exact course, exact distance. In other words, the 1000 Turffontein blue bat with Ryan Munger that ran third. The previous time they were at Turffontein, 1000, drifted to 25 to 1, but a decent enough Batsini to also have it in the mix. So those are my top four in this race. Silver Winter, Southern Style, Nelly Bly, and Miss Soho. Moving on to the second, and in the second, I must say Beltway is quite an interesting runner here for me. It's a greenie, but it's also a red greenie. Now, what we mean with a red greenie is essentially the horse has been untrained, shall I call it that. You'll see here that the merit rating was as much as 80 when it ran on the 4th of September over the 1200 Turffontein, and it ran so well that the handicapper thought it's 80 handicap, and subsequently it went from 80 to 78 to 76 to 70 to 62 to 59 and now 57. So it's essentially 23 merit rating points away from the worst of the best that it had. And on top of that, it gets another 4 kilo claim from Mr. Sosibo. That's only got 2 for the day. So I would not be surprised after there's been a little bit of support here on Beltway that Beltway will have a decent enough run in this race today. And therefore I make Beltway my first choice. Question marks on Olaf Cardigan. You'll see that he was pretty cold when he came back from a rest the previous time. If he was hot, you would see that as a red, but he was cold. Nonetheless, though, he did run a 6.67 on the bat figure here, and that run would get him into this race, but there's not much intent from the jockey. Nathan Klink does have the best adjusted time, best speed rating, and best exact distance median speed, and he does have some decent support on the bat figures as well. So Olaf Cardigan is not a bad one to keep in here. Others to consider is the two Spice runners, Kite Surfer Above the World, and also Smelting and Lebanese Pound. I think the top four is most likely going to get from those four runners. You'll see Above the World has the highest P-stats, 33% winners on 22 P-stats, probability stats over Turffontein 1000 Class G. 33% of the winners has come from the highest median speed, and that belongs to Above the World. So Spice might also have a decent enough day today. A bit of a concern for me is Above the World is the second run after a rest. Earl of Cardigan can be anything, running coming back from a race, but I think Beltway is probably a decent option in this race. Just looking at the collateral form on that race on Beltway, sorry, let me just get back to that. You'll see the collateral form at the bottom here. Beltway was running against a few here recently, and he was carrying 60, now 53.5, so that's 6.5 down, and 3 lengths behind the winner, where Smelting is 4 down, so Beltway is another 2.5 better off, and he beat Smelting at 4.85 that time. This one on Beltway and Smelting was pretty similar as well. 7 lengths for Belting, now 6.5 better off, and Smelting 9.5 lengths, but now 4 better off. So considering that Beltway should be in the mix here, if you look at this, then Quella was behind Smelting, and this one is interesting, Kite Surfer and Beltway. 7 lengths on the yielding going here, now 1 kilo worse off. And Beltway is now 4 kilos better off and from a better draw. and was a half a length ahead as well. So I think Beltway should probably be in the top 3 at 83%. Moving on to the third race, and yeah, my notes gives me a bit of a warning as far as setups for Mr. Van Vieren. So when he does have a few in the race, I would not just go for his best one. I would also consider his others. So for me, I think Tuscan Winters, Corvette Captain, Faraway Winter, Let's Do It. And don't leave out Wally Whirly. The reason being he's on his best form, if you look at that versus Tuscan Winter. Yeah, Wally Whirly is 1.5 kilos better off. Was 8.25 behind the winner. Tuscan Winter is 2.5 worse off, so that's a 4 kilo difference for a 2.25 lengths difference, which does mean that Willy Willy is not out of this race either. In fact, if you look at this Willy Willy 62.5 to 60, he's 2.5 better off, and Tuscan Winter is 5.5 worse off, and Willy Willy was far away ahead of Tuscan Winter, so wouldn't throw Willy Willy out of that race at all. And then in the very next race here, let's move on to the fourth year, and again Ashley Fortune with Ryan Munger this time. See some very decent bat figures on the side. Again, it's a red one. I think between Letitia's Angel and Baby Don't Hurt Me, and based on these bat figures on Scott Adito, there's some those three should be enough to get you through the PA. Looking at a little bit of the details here, you'll see your fantasy selections you can mark with green here, the same as you can mark them here, and then every day you can win some prizes on our fantasy. It's free to enter, it's free for everyone to play. Letitia's Angle was as much as 85 and now gone up 62 here, and now on the 62 has the ability, has a one draw, which is not always the greatest of draw for Turffontein, but decent enough nonetheless. Ryan Munger takes the ride. Ryan Munger did win on him the previous time, and that run was at Turffontein. The inside track 4.88 was a really good bet, and supported with a 5.86 just prior to that. So Letitia's Angel for me should be in the mix, but I do have a lot of respect for Baby Don't Hurt Me as well, because you'll see the Hyperpaint Syndicate, Mr. J.T. Peter, and the trainer, Mr. Paul Peter. So you can imagine why this has been untrained from 80 to a 64 and might be firing any moment soon again. Was once a 3.84 on the exact course and distance. The last run was a 16, so it's 13 lengths to play there. And that's pretty much the difference in the merit rating as we saw here. So I'll definitely throw Baby Don't Hurt Me into the mix here as well. My others to consider is probably Feather the Nest with Gavin Larena taking the ride. And Scott Adito has also got some nice hidden bat figures here when he did this exact same course on the Turffontein. So another one to consider. It's going a little bit further today, but he has won on the 1200 before. So potentially he could also find the winning box. He's made a bit of a gear change as well. Marco van Rensburg takes the ride, and Marco van Rensburg has a decent enough 42.86% for Mr. Peter. I'm the wrong one here. I missed Scott Adito. Marco has a 40% win place ratio for Corne Spies, and also has just over 50, almost 53% place record for the season, and a 33% chance to win for the horse. So that combined with the fact that this is a Corne Spies racing, you might see a little bit more from Scott Adito today. So those would be my first three, and then Twice as Wild would be my next best now, with Matsunyane taking the ride. Previously there's been a lot of Gavin Larena. So those four for me. Gal Gadot is an interesting little runner, purely if I look at the collateral form at the bottom here. One of these earlier runs, he was actually pretty decent. If you look at Gal Gadot here, 1200, he's now half length off and 3.6 behind the winner. Scott Adito is 5.5 worse off and 7 behind it. So if Scott Adito has a chance, then Gal Gadot must have a chance in this race as well. So some hidden form here from Gal Gadot, but on his most recent form he should be held. We just don't know if that was intentionally hidden. Moving on to the fifth race, and the fifth race here, I would say stick to Pottinger as my first choice, but I've got a lot of respect for a 20-1 August Leafs here, as well as the Brief, as well as Immeasurable, as well as Banner Bridge. So I think any one of those actually has a little bit of a chance to win, and the reason why I'm saying that is just purely on the very last collateral form run. If Pottinger is at 4-1 and getting the support, then I would not throw August Leafs out of it, because Jeffrey Seister has a really good record, 100% win place for the season for Robin. It's probably more a place chance than a winning chance, but 4 kilos better off from 9 lengths beating. Pottinger is 3 kilos better off from 4.5, so that's 1 closer. So it's still 3 to go. The Brief is got 1 kilo more to carry, so on that, Banner Bridge must get thrown into the previous race as well, because the Brief is now 6 up from 54 and 3.5 behind the winner, and Banner Bridge is now 2 higher and 1.95. So on that run on collateral form, Banner Bridge is better than the Brief and also an only runner. So definitely something to consider in that race. But yeah, it's a tough race. I would try and even throw in all of them. If you want to leave one out, maybe leave Jackman out, but the rest is all very much in the mix in that race. In the sixth race, another small field, and from the small field, the ones I prefer the most is actually Wandering Star, Lord of Light, and High Moon. Again, Janssen van Vuuren with the stablemate in the same race. And if I look at the bat curve, the consistency curve over the last 8 months, then I pretty much see that Lord of Life, the stablemate, also his third run after a rest, is very much in here on his bat curve, on his consistency curve. So I wouldn't leave Lord of Light out of this race. And then the other one to consider is the red one. Again, untraining the horse, but it is the second run after a rest for High Moon. Now he does have, he's the purple line. That means he's the line horse to beat over this course and this close to exact distance. You can see his merit rating has been thrown all the way back to make him more competitive. He's lost 10 merit rating points. He's getting tongue tie on today. And Hollywood Syndicate is already a big warning sign for me, so I throw in High Moon in this race as well. On the Turffontein only form, if you take out the Vaal form, all these Vaal form, you see Turffontein is a 23. If you look at all these Turffontein here is a 20, and look at High Moon on his last 1450, 150 less than what he's doing today, but a lovely 4.76. That's why he's made the line horse on the Turffontein track. So again, anything can happen here. Paul Peter and Kurapi coming from a rest. I'll always be worried with horses coming from a rest for Paul Peter. So bit of a tough one. Again, to consider. They're small fields, but a lot of horses with some chances in the race, I would say. Moving on to the seventh, and yeah, I quite like the bat figures of Mitsubishi and Wolf's World. Wolf's World's also only runner and also red. And red, of course, means danger, because here's another example of was once a 91 and now all the way down is now a 80 merit rating. So his last run was really decent, 6.24 on the bat over the same course, same distance. The purple bat here, that gives you that best one. So that's definitely one to consider, and backed up with the previous 1600 with a 3.97. Mitsubishi is another lovely one to consider. I really think he'll be in the mix today, because his 1600 Turffontein exact course and distance rides with Marco on board was a 1, a 3, and a 3. So he'll be in the mix again today. He's got some 8.03. And he is on the up, actually, purely because he's running pretty well. He's gone from a 63 up to a 73. So Mitsubishi for me is also one that maybe has quite a decent chance to be in the top 3 today. And then, of course, we have the favorite, Vanderbilt. Let's just see if we see some collateral form at the bottom here between Mitsubishi and Wolf's World. 60, 2.5 down for 2 lengths. Mitsubishi 2 down for 0.5, so still should have the edge over Wolf's World. And then if I look at the collateral form on the 9th of June between Vanderbilt and Mitsubishi, you'll see Mitsubishi has now got 3.5 kilos less to carry and was a 0.2 behind Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt has now got 5 more to carry. So that is quite a difference of 8.5 kilos that Mitsubishi is better off to Vanderbilt for only a 0.2 lengths beating. So that does bring him very much into the race. And then moving on to the lucky last. And in the lucky last here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red horses. So 5 times worries. And then we also have a favorite, Silver Stardust, with a stablemate Freedom of Choice from the same stable with very similar bat figures, not even a length difference between the two, and that combined with the fact that he's got 12 greenie points. On top of that, Joe Soma's only runner, Baron Bottas is only runner, Stuart Pettigrew's only runner, and Java House now with a blinkers fitted, the best overall ranking, exotic ranking, form, intent, and total form. Another race that is pretty tight to call, and throw in Mr. Azzy, the Java House stablemate. That's much better in the support, 2.8 versus a 7 on Tumby on his 1 run to date. But I'm looking at these two as the Tumby had a 89.2 bat and Java House had a 16 year and another 16 and a 13 year, so not much between those two separating. That's it for me, guys, and hope you have a really nice day. Maybe just show you the collateral form on the last run between these two: 58, 58, 2.75, 53.5, 52, 4. So that 1.5 kilos here for Java House combined with the blinkers will bring Java House into this race. That's it. Have a great day.